That was stupid.
Ooh, yellow. Tom, yeah. Yeah, you got some defective clubs here. Yeah, not even a pro can hit them. Uh-huh.
This is smart. Self-call digital. Sometimes you just have to call yourself.
I should probably turn my ringer off. But anywho, you know.
But anywho, who said that? I'm gonna start saying that's non. Anywho. Oh, hang on. My fault.
Admit your mistakes, and that's what we're talking about tonight, because the first night we took a look at the part of the verse that said, God, I want you to search me, I want you to know my heart, I'm going to humble myself before you. The second night we talked about the part that says, test me, God, I want you to expose the parts of me that are lies. And tonight we're talking about admitting your mistakes, which means the times you've messed up. We call that learning the hard way when you mess up. And so for tonight's Get to Know Me section, I wanted to share with you some lessons I've had to learn the hard way. And to avoid any problems tonight, Adam, would you please come out of the booth? Thank you.
No!
I was extremely disappointed to find out you guys don't like Iowa jokes. I felt close to you, and now, betrayal. It's all betrayal in here. Anyway, we might go back to some funny stuff tomorrow, but for right now, I'd like to talk to you about some important lessons that I've had to learn the hard way, and I'd like you to write on your forms this week, or tonight, some of the things that you've had to learn the hard way as well. I put them in graphs here so it's easier for you to understand. This is my friendship with Adam and how much I trust him. 2008 to 2009, it was going pretty good. This is last night's Get to Know Me section. I've had to learn that the hard way. This is Creepy Things. Down here, you can't see it. Maybe if I scoot it back. Better? Oh, okay, sorry. These are Creepy Things. Down here we have scary movies. Spiders are about as creepy as scary movies. Spiders in your hair, more creepy. Finding your great-grandma's teeth in the sink. And up here is super creepy. You wouldn't expect it, but putting a 30-year-old man's face in a picture with Selena Gomez, extremely creepy. And you're not going to think so when you first do it, but then once everyone sees it, you're going to realize, oh yeah, that's super creepy. So, learn from my mistakes. Baby girl nicknames. Some things you can call a baby girl, some things you can't. Princess is fine. Sugar is great. Sweetie, that's fine. Dude, not so much. Please learn from my mistakes. Baby boy nicknames. Little buddy's all right. Little Mr. Champ. Mr. President, not usually one that you're going to use for a little baby boy. Just trying to help you out. This next one's quite important. Peeing in a pool. Now, this is what you think. You think that you're going to pee in the pool and it's going to be okay. In reality, it's perfectly fine, all up until the minute that your friend's mom realizes that you're not moving and you've got a weird look on your face. And then it's just horrible. Why aren't you swimming? This is a pie chart of procrastination. This is funniness of farts over time. When you hear the fart, it's very funny. Equally funny is blaming people for that fart, but once you smell it, I guarantee the fun goes down. Much later, it's kind of funny to remember the fart. I'm just trying to help you out. This is funniness of farts by location. At church, kind of funny. In the bathtub, much more funny. In my face, not funny at all. In my brother's face, very funny. This next one is this is what I would look like pretty much if I was missing a pinky. I guess something like that. Here's some needs. Now, you have a need to sneeze that comes along every now and then, and that's perfectly natural and that's perfectly fine. You also have a need to pee that kind of shows up every now and then. What you gotta watch out for is this point right here. That's a disaster. Trust me. Trust me. Here's your summer fun. While you're in school, you think this is what it's gonna be. In reality, this is your first day, and then it's just boring with a couple sleepovers. This next one is your ability to draw mountains as you get older. You can see it gets a little better as you grow older. This next one might apply here during camp. This is pillow fights by competitors. Man versus man is fun. Child versus child can get dangerous. Man versus child, that's just sad, really. Like, pick on someone your own size, right? Child versus pillow is a little crazy. But pillow versus pillow, that's crazy awesome, right? Anyway. This is ways that it's on. It can be partially on or fully on, but mostly it's on like Donkey Kong, I found. So, and that's the end. I hope that helps. Tomorrow we'll be back to some funny stuff, maybe. Because we're running crazy late on time, and because yesterday I took you an extra half an hour, and you guys were awesome, so patient. But today we're going to skip over our review game, and if we have time at the end, I promise we'll come back and we'll do some review game. But first, let's do a little bit of mailbag. All right. Where's my mailbag? Here we go. How do we know when we are having a moment with God? How do you know when you're having a moment with your friends? How can you tell? Like, hey, this is a great moment. Yeah, how do you tell? Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty much when you're with them and you're having some strong emotion. So you're either really sad and you're with them, you can have a moment. Or you're really happy and you're with them, and that can be a moment. And it's pretty much the same thing with God. If you're hanging out with him and you're feeling a strong emotion, he's right there with you, and you're having a moment. In order to have those moments with God, you have to spend time with him, just like with your friends. Like, you can't just call up your friend and go, I'm thinking about hanging out with you, but I don't really know if it's going to be spectacular or not. Can you guarantee me that this is going to be really, really great? That's kind of messed up. So we don't want to be that same way with God. We just want to be with God all the time, and we will have moments with God if we spend time with him. I've also noticed, one last thing on this one, I've noticed it with my friends and with God, a lot of times the moments I didn't really know that I was in them until I looked back. And then when I look back, I went, you know what, when I was going through that really tough time, that one person came over, and that was really special, and we really bonded that way. So you may not always know when you're in a moment with God, and that's perfectly fine. As you look back, you'll go, you know what, that one time God took me through that, and I didn't even see it at the time, but that was really cool. So anyway, there's that. Vanessa in 105, are you here? Vanessa in 105? Are you here? Come on up. The answer is yes. And there you go. You asked for all my Giants baseball cards. So there you go. They're old. I don't think those guys are playing or maybe alive anymore. Can God help me with my grades? My question is, what if the answer was no? What if God couldn't help you with your grades? What would that change? If that would change anything, that's probably not a good sign. How would that work with your friends? Like, I was thinking about being friends with you, but I was wondering, can you help me with my grades? And can you help me with this? And can you teach me how to swim? Because I don't really have room for a lot of friends unless you've got a lot to offer me. That doesn't work at all. So with God, I'm sure he can help me with grades. I don't know if he will or not, but that shouldn't probably be the basis of our relationship with him. I'd pray to him and ask for help, but moving on. Jeremiah in cabin number 2. Jeremiah in cabin number 2. Where? Help me out. Are you here? Are you here? Oh, hi. Oh yeah, okay. I expected a different attitude. Whatever. You asked for all of my baseball cards. This is making more sense. First, I want to give a baseball card to everyone else who wants one. So if you want, now I know, yeah. So tell your counselors at the end, they'll come up and get enough baseball cards for your entire cabin that wants them. Afterwards, not now, later. And then all of the ones that are left, they're yours, buddy. You can have the book too. All right. Do you really wet the bed? I really, really, really don't think so. I'm pretty sure. However, I have a 0-year-old and a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old in my house. So pretty much every morning that I wake up, my bed is wet with something. Whether it's milk or juice or pee or spit up or spit or something. So I'm not quite sure. I will tell you this week, I have been dry all week. Thank you. So, I'm pretty sure I don't still wet the bed. What's the worst thing that God can do to you? Yeah, before I answer this one though, I'd like to introduce you to my daughter. Her name is Ella. Do we have a picture of Ella? Yeah, some of you guys remember her from last week. This is me and Ella last Friday, because Friday is our date day, and so we got to hang out and we took this picture at Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah, I like her a lot. She's really cool. In fact, Sunday before I left to come here, she called me in, and I was putting all my stuff together. She called me and she said, "Papa, I have something for you." And I went into her room and I saw this. She had gotten all of her dolls together for a goodbye cupcake party for me. And yeah, and she doesn't actually have any plastic cupcakes, so she gave me this and she said, "You can take this to camp with you and eat it when you're there." So I called Kim and said, "I'm not coming, sorry." No, I didn't really. But I miss her like crazy, and she wrecks me. She wrecks me. The least favorite part of my life ever is having to discipline her, because I just hate it. And so she's Ella, and I couldn't love her any more than I do right now. Now you ask me the question, what's the worst thing you could possibly do to Ella? I have no idea. Like, that doesn't even, I don't ever think about that. Like, this is awesome. This is the best thing I could possibly have, is a cupcake party with my daughter. And what's the worst thing I could do to her? I have no idea. I wouldn't even want to think about it. So, if that's the way I feel toward her, I guarantee you, it hasn't entered God's mind. What's the worst thing that he can do to you? He's just waiting to be your friend and to love you and to have you love him back. So I don't know what the worst thing is that he could do, but I know that he doesn't think about it. We're going to go ahead and skip to Act 1 now. Sorry, I'm trying to cut stuff so we get you out on time. Act 1. This is Satan hates repentance. I can tell you this. Of all of the things that Satan is out to do, he wants to steal, kill, and destroy. He'd love to mess you up if he can. But of all the things that he does, the number one thing he wants to do is to keep you from repenting. Repenting is admitting your mistakes, telling God, this is what I really am, this is what I've done, and I'm really sorry, and I don't want to do it anymore. If he can do that to you, if he can keep you from doing that thing, he's won. That's his only goal. Even if it means covering up your sins.
tired of people making fun of you for showering in a bathing suit? Laser! Shower yourself with the newest body spray and hide that stench. Even though you're not the slightest bit clean, no one notices because all they smell is the strong musk of hot midnight tiger smoke. Hey you! Don't you wish hiding your sins was that easy and effective? Of course you do. Now it is with the new Axe body spray. Cover yourself with Axe, green with envy, and your friends will never notice how you struggle with jealousy. Do you have a study date? But the only anatomy you want to study is each other? Spray Axe, we're just doing homework spray, and your parents will have no problem with your new study habits. Use Axe, eyes on your own pepper spray, and hide the fact you are using a cheat sheet on a big test. Snuck out past curfew? Look behind you, only to get caught by your parents? Fail! With Axe, parental approval spray, your parents will actually be proud of you. Unfail! We know it's difficult to share your struggles and surrender your sins. That's why we've designed these revolutionary sprays that will hide your sins so you can go on living that double life.
Thanks, Axe Body Spray.
You're welcome!
Satan will use anything that he can to keep you from repenting. We're going to go over 3 of them. Shame, fear, and pride. I can tell you about shame, because when I was your age, there was a candy store just down the block from my house, and I was allowed to ride my bike there. I hadn't even taken the training wheels off my bike, but I was allowed to ride there because it was such a short distance. And they had candy there, and I loved candy. The problem is I loved candy more than the amount of money that I had. But there was a solution to that problem, because my dad had an office, and in his office during the day, he would leave his wallet. And his wallet had, well, to me it seemed like $1 million. I don't know how much it was, but there were always dollar bills in there. And so I remember the first time that I did it, I went in there and I went, you know what, I really want a pack of Starburst just this one time. I'm sure if I asked him, he'd probably want me to have an extra $1, and I'll probably pay it back during my next allowance. So I sneaked in, I looked behind me, made sure no one was coming. My parents were downstairs, and I went in, I opened up his wallet, and he had several bills. Some of them were larger, like 20s and 10s. I thought, if you take a 20, he might notice. And all I really wanted was some Starburst. So I just took $1 out, put it in my pocket, and went downstairs, making sure everything's cool, and no one seemed to notice. So I said, I'll see you guys later, I'm going to Casey's. And they said, oh, you have money for Casey's? And I said, yeah, I've been saving up secretly. When you guys give me my allowance, I've been putting a little bit away. And so I have some extra money, and I'm going to go spend it. And they said, all right, have fun. And I went, I'm away with this. Like, this is a free candy, right? So I go, and I buy the candy. I bring it back. I didn't even go in the house. I just opened it up outside, and I started eating it. It was wonderful. And then it was horrible. Because I went, all my candy's gone, and I've just stolen money. I am never going to do that again. Fast forward to tomorrow. I really want some Skittles. And yeah, I said I wasn't going to ever do it again. You know what? You've already done it once, and you can pay back $2 at your allowance time. So I sneaked in, opened up the wallet, pulled the one out, closed it back out, closed it back up. Started to go out, looked back, and realized as I had pulled out the $1 bill, another one had followed it, and it was a little bit out. I went back, I opened up the wallet, I put them all back in so he wouldn't notice, made sure it was at the same angle. Went back downstairs. See you guys later. I'm going to go to Casey's. You have money? Yeah, I've been saving it. I told you I've been saving it. Okay, have fun. Went and got some candy and had some Skittles. And this time I kind of expected it to not taste as good. And I was right, it didn't quite taste as good. But you know what? Each time I went back, for the next 2-3 weeks. And it wasn't every day, sometimes it was every other day. But every time I went back, I think, you know what, this is gonna be the last time. But like, you feel like, well, I've already done this, so I might as well go again. Well, I wanted to tell my parents about it. I knew it was wrong, and I wanted to tell them, but I was afraid that, you know, I was gonna get in lots of trouble. The thing I was most afraid of was my parents were gonna then know that I was a thief. They were gonna know that I stole. I felt horrible about that because I had never done anything or gotten in trouble for anything like that before. And so I thought about telling him one night, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to tell him. And it was our family night. We watched a movie, and I'll tell him after the movie. And then, so the movie was over, and I didn't tell him. I'll tell him tomorrow. This happened like 2 or 3 times, and I just felt so bad inside, like they're gonna think that I'm a horrible person. And finally, I worked up the guts to go in and say, Mom and Dad, I've been stealing your money. And they said, we forgive you. And I went, what? Really, that's it? They said, well, no, you have consequences, but we don't know what they are, so we want you to go into your room and we'll come up with your consequences. I have no idea what the consequences were. I don't remember them at all. The thing I remember from that situation is this heavy shame that I had had about my parents are going to know. All of that was weighing so heavy on me that whatever I lost in my relationship with them, I gained so much in the freedom of just them knowing what I had done. And I didn't have that shame anymore. So shame is one of the things that Satan wants to use. He wants to tell you, you know what, you shouldn't do that. Nobody else does this. Your brother's not doing it. Your sister's not doing this. He wants to shame you into not repenting. The other thing he uses is fear. I need a volunteer. Sitting very quietly. Counselors, can you help me out? Right here in the brown shirt. Yep. The other thing Satan uses is fear. You gonna help me out? You're in charge of these. We're gonna chop some up. Because when you say, Satan, I'm going to repent, he says, go ahead, stick one of those in there. He says, yeah, you got it. He says, but what about the consequences? And you go, but I really think that I should repent. Go ahead. Oh, you're gonna have to hold it, man. Get brave. Get real brave. No, you're gonna have to hold it. Get brave. All right. And Satan says, but then what about your reputation? Like, everyone's gonna know then about your sin. How are you gonna like that? Wait, I gotta take this thing. Oh, we got a carrot coming. Nice. Go ahead. And Satan says, well, your great reputation, the consequences, I mean, this isn't worth it. You've seen other people repent, and they had to pay for it. Go ahead and put your carrots down and take your index finger out, my friend. Because when you repent, it's not like watching other people repent. You watch other people repent, and you're like, well, that was too bad for you, man. No, down here, my friend. And you go, Satan says, it's not going to be worth it, man. It's not going to be worth it. And you say, God, here's my sin. This is what I'm doing. I don't want to do it anymore. And God says, you're forgiven. Satan wants to use anything he can to keep you from repenting. He'll use shame. He'll tell you that you're bad and that you shouldn't have ever done it and you can't tell anybody. He'll use fear. He'll tell you that the consequences are going to be horrible. And you know what? There might be some bad consequences, but nothing that should keep you from repenting. The other thing is that he uses is pride. He tells you, you know what? You don't really need to give that up fully. Maybe you can just hang on to some of that sin, just a little bit of it.
Hey, Kat.
Jesus.
Oh, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see you here.
Whoa, what's that smell?
Smell? Oh, well, that's my trash. I'm a little embarrassed about it.
Oh, well, is that why you've been avoiding me?
Avoiding you? I haven't really been avoiding you. I just, I don't want to get close to you. I mean, I don't want you to smell it.
I'll take it, Kat. Come on.
No, that's okay. I mean, I made it. It's my trash. I should carry it. It's okay.
Yeah, but Kat, I mean, this is my job.
Right.
I take people's trash. That's what I do, so...
Right, okay, well maybe I could go and just clean it up a little bit, and then I'll come back.
No, Kat, I don't need you to do that. Okay? I'll take it from you so you don't have to carry the weight.
Oh, well,
Come on. Just hand it over. All right? Let go. Let go. Yeah? How's that feel?
Weird. Wow. That is crazy.
Just loosen it up a little bit.
Check that out. I don't know if I've ever moved like that before. I mean, that is crazy. I
Get used to feeling free, because that's what you are now.
Right, okay.
What are you
okay.
doing?
I gotta get one thing, okay? Hold on just a minute.
Get one thing. No, don't open the bag.
Jesus, thank you so much for your sacrifice. I really appreciate all that you've done for me.
What's going on here, Kat?
What?
Look, I'll take the trash, but you need to put that back.
Oh, no, actually, that's okay. This is mine. It's my piece. I want to keep it.
No, it goes right back in the bag, so I'll help you. Here,
No.
put it here.
No, Jesus, I need to remind myself not to make more trash. I mean, that just
Kathleen,
makes sense.
I will remind you not to make more trash.
Oh,
okay?
well, Jesus, you know.
That's what I do. I mean, we'll walk together.
I know, but I should be in a better place than this by now. I mean, I'm constantly doing things wrong, you know, and I'm constantly letting you down.
No, the only thing that's letting me down is you taking this stuff back.
Okay.
Look, I took care of the trash before you even created it. Look, don't you see what's happening? Every time I take your trash away, you come back and take another piece. And the more pieces you carry around, the more trash you attract. It reeks. Kat, when I look at you, I don't see your sin. I see you. The real you, the free you. This is what I'm fighting for. This is what I died for.
Jesus, I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
I've already forgiven you. The question is, will you forgive yourself?
Which brings us to Act 2. Satan hates repentance, and, lucky for him, we love being right. We wish that we were the only right person there was, so that anytime there was a question, we spoke up, we were the ones that had the right answer. Unfortunately, for that part of us, God's everywhere. And David wrote in one of his other Psalms that God is everywhere. He says, God, where can I go from your spirit? Or where can I hide from your presence? If I go to the mountains, you're there.
It sounds like you are looking for directions to flee God's presence. Let me search for that.
Hang on. All right, Siri, that was just a verse I was quoting. David was just saying that God is always with us, so we need to depend on him, even when we would rather just depend on ourselves. Please be done.
I found it. To flee from God's presence.
Oh, no.
Please go forward.
Should I do it, or can we quit this? Okay, all right, I'll try going.
Please go forward. Please turn right.
Excuse me, sorry.
Please turn left. Please step back. Please go forward. Please turn left.
What next, Siri?
Please turn right. Please go forward. Please turn left.
Are we about done, Siri? I can't go any farther.
I hate being wrong.
Yeah, God's presence is pretty much everywhere. I hate being wrong too, though.
No, I really hate being wrong.
No, I really hate being wrong. I understand. We all do.
But that is my identity. That is who I am. I know things. If I don't know, then I am nobody. I am nothing. I will look stupid.
I know. I'm sorry, we all feel that way.
On Monday, you said I needed a new heart. I got one. On Tuesday, you said to stop lying about who I was. I did. This is really who I am. I must be a failure. I want to quit and get my old programming back.
What did you say there? All right, well, you could do that. But you know what, Siri? There's something that's even more important than being right.
Impossible.
Actually, it's our relationship with God. That's the most important thing. That's more important than being right.
That makes sense when you say it like that.
Yeah, it's tough to remember, though, honestly, when we want to be right.
I always want to be right.
Yeah, me too. But see, that's how we're supposed to use our new heart. We care more about being close to God than we care about being right.
We have to lay down our right to be right.
Exactly. And that's when we'll be free to love God.
But what about David? He was right all the time, right?
No, not at all.
But he had a heart like God. Doesn't that mean he was perfect?
No. See, it's the opposite of that. He had a heart like God because he knew that he was not perfect.
Dang. You just blew my mind.
Well, congratulations, Siri. That's humility.
I was wrong about this whole thing.
That's humility too.
Wow. Being humble feels cozy. I was afraid to admit that I was wrong, but now that I did, I don't have the pressure of being right all the time. Is this how David felt?
They all say yes. I guess so.
So he just admitted when he was wrong?
Yep.
What did he do when he wasn't sure if he was right or not?
He said, I'm not sure if I'm right or not.
Revolutionary. When did he do that?
I'll tell you what, I gotta put you down. Sorry. She wants me to tell her about the time when David did that. So, David, I told you yesterday, was king of Israel, and he had that wife, right? You all remember the wife? We don't have to go over that, right? Well, David not only had a wife, he also had a son. And his son, at one point, took over David's kingdom. I don't know if you quite understood the sentence I just said. David was king, and his son came in and kicked David out. So David is out on the street with a couple of his friends. He's actually really the king, but he's not, because on the throne is David's son. Among other things that we won't take more time to go into, the kingdom was not going well under David's son. And he was walking along one day, and someone came out of nowhere and started cursing at David and throwing stones at David. I'm not going to throw anything. Throwing stones at David and throwing stones at all of his men. And David's men were called the mighty men of David because they were just crazy awesome at like killing and stuff. And David's right-hand man says, David, there's no reason that this old dog should be cursing at you. Let me cut his head off. And David turns back to him, and any other king, I guarantee you, read the Bible, any one of those other kings would have said, you're right, go for it. And he might have had fun. But David turns back to him and says, you know what? One of two things is true right now. Either this guy over here that's cursing at me and telling me that it's all my fault that the kingdom is going badly, and telling me that this is all from God, that this is my punishment for not being a good guy, either that guy is right, and we shouldn't kill him because I need to hear that message, or he's wrong, and maybe God will reward me for going through this tough time. There's no need to kill him. Now, I love this story because there are other times in David's life where he admits his mistakes, but in this one, David says, yeah, I might be wrong, even when he wasn't. That's how humble a guy he was. He just walked around in life saying, you know what? I'm doing my best right now. I'm being humble. I'm exposing my lies. I'm not trying to be something that I'm not. And you know what? If you want to accuse me of something, search me, God. Know my heart. If that's true, show it to me. He's a pretty incredible guy. most of us aren't like that. We want to be in control. We want to be the person who makes the decisions for our lives instead of daily waking up and saying, God, search my heart, know me, expose my lies, and see if there's anything offensive in me. We want to be the ones who are in charge. Check this out.
Jesus, I have decided to give you this.
Really?
Yeah,
You know whoever sits here makes all the decisions, right?
I know, and I'm always making decisions, but you make the perfect decisions. So you just sit right down and start making them.
Wow, I'm honored. I mean, this feels great.
Kathleen, guess what? I just got my new credit card. It's time to go shopping. Oh, really? I thought your husband and you were going to pay off debt. Oh, yeah. I mean, money's kind of tight, but I figured he doesn't have to know about it. So do you want to go with me?
No.
No? Why? What I mean is, I don't know. So let me check my schedule, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, yeah, give me a call. Okay.
Kat, what's going on?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm kind of one cheek in here. Look, I just want to make sure we're on the same page. You wanted me to sit here, right?
Well, of course.
And whoever sits here makes all the decisions?
Right.
So what's the problem?
There's not a problem. I don't know what I was thinking. Really, please, here, sit down.
As long as you're sure.
I'm sure.
Okay, so let's start over.
Okay.
All right. Kat, I noticed that you've been losing your temper a lot lately.
Right.
So-
Okay, Jesus, you know what? I know what you're gonna say, but see,
You do?
you don't know the whole situation, you know?
Oh, well, all I'm saying is that your attitude is a decision.
Yes, of course, but I have a lot going on right now.
Well, I know you're under a lot of pressure.
Pressure, Jesus, you don't understand pressure, okay?
This isn't working, Kat.
What?
We can't both sit on the seat. It's either me or it's you.
Okay, I know. You know, I didn't think it was gonna be this hard, but here, just take it.
No, I'm not going to take it. You have to give it to me.
Okay, here.
Kathleen, make a choice.
I can't.
You just did.
And that brings us to our last segment together this evening. Act 3, the most important part. Hiding sin keeps you from God. See this poster right here, admitting your mistakes? That's the way that we always think of admitting our mistakes. We think, I've done these terrible things, and now I've got to cry, and I'm gonna feel horrible. It's gonna be long, and it's gonna be drawn out. But that's not actually the right poster for tonight. Because that's not the way God sees it. God sees you admitting your mistakes more like this. See, when we forgive each other, it's like this. You've offended me. You say, please forgive me. And I say, yeah, you're forgiven. You can go. You're free. Because that's the way we forgive. You're forgiven. You may go. But God's exactly the opposite. God says, you're forgiven. You can come. He invites you in. But hiding our sin keeps us from being free with God. It's a lot like this, according to the Bible. I didn't ask you to volunteer. You sure you want to be up here? Okay. Bible says our sin is a lot like this. That we sin, and we think, you know what? I don't really want to tell God about this. I mean, this is some bad stuff. You sure you still want to be up here? We'll find out. Can you get up? No. That is hiding sin right there. And God is waiting with the key to release us from our sin, if we just ask Him. But the problem is, God says, why don't we take care of that sin? And we say, no. I'm not that one. I mean, I've already exposed my lies. I've humbled myself. I've asked you to come into my heart like 3 times now. Isn't that good enough? And God says, if this is the way you want our friendship to work, how much can we hang out right now? You and me. How much can you and me hang out? Can we go fishing? No? Volleyball? A little basketball? No? There's nothing we can do with God if we're hiding our sins and trying to keep them, because we're so preoccupied in our mind. I knew I had stolen that money, and I wasn't going to be able to be all right with my parents. Every time, that whole night when we were watching that movie together, the only thing I was thinking about was not, oh, this is fun, I get to be with my parents. The thing I was thinking about was, maybe you should tell them, maybe not, maybe. I have no idea what that movie was. I didn't enjoy the night at all. God's holding the key, and he wants to unlock you. I experienced this with my daughter. Sorry, you're still here. I experienced this with my daughter because she likes shells a lot. She loves the beach. And she's got her own shells that she can play with, but there's a certain set of shells in a fountain that she's not allowed to touch. And we've got a rule in our house that when she's doing something and I say, Ella, you can't do that anymore, she has one option. Well, she has two options, but the one I want is for her to say, yes, Papa, and to stop. The other option is my least favorite thing in the world, that she gets a swat. I hate that part. So when she's playing with the shells, I'll tell her, Ella, you can't play with those shells. And she'll say, yes, Papa, and then she'll keep playing with the shells. And I take that one parental step toward her, and she knows she's just selected the second option. And as I walk over to her, she says, I am obeying, I am obeying, I am obeying, I am obeying, and she starts putting them all back, but it's too late, she's already made her decision. And as long as she's got the attitude, I am obeying, then it's not fair that you swat me, because I am obeying. She and I both know she wasn't obeying, and I don't want to swat her, but this is what she's chosen. And see, when she's hiding that, instead of saying, I'm sorry, Papa, and taking her consequences and moving on like I would love to happen, instead of her saying, I am obeying, I am obeying, I am obeying, that hurts our relationship. That's her saying, if you swat me, this isn't going to be fair, and we're not going to be friends anymore. See, her and I not being friends anymore has nothing to do with my love for her. It has everything to do with her being willing to say, Papa, I'm sorry. And when she does that, my feelings for her haven't changed a bit. I felt the same way about her either way. I'm desperately wanting her to say, I'm sorry, Papa, and take her consequences. And then, then she's free. Give her a hand. We have one last video that demonstrates our third act, and then we're going to be done. So when you watch this, this is our last section, and then we'll close it up with prayer. Here we go. This is Jesus' story.
Do you ever get tired of your boring day-to-day life? I know I do. I should say that I did. Then I decided to do something about it. You see, conventional wisdom says that you live your life, and then your parents die, and they give you whatever they have left over, an inheritance. I'm sorry, that just wasn't good enough for me. So I decided to do something about it, you know? I want my money right now. So one day, I walked right up to my dad, and I said to him,
Dad, I want what's coming to me right now. That's what my youngest son said to me. I want what's coming to me right now. All I could think of that moment was, I'd like to give you what's coming to you right now. I brought him into this world, and I can make another one just like him. But he's my son, and I love him. So I gave him his money and told him if he could have a better life on his own without me, so be it. He packed his bags, and the next thing I knew,
I was out of there. Just this boring place goodbye. I had places to go, people to see. So the first thing I did was,
my son got lost. I love him, but he's no Magellan. I heard he had to stop for directions at least 4 times before he even made it out of our hometown.
You know what? No, not 4, okay? It was 3. And one of them wasn't even my fault. I couldn't understand what the guy was saying. I was just like, okay, thank you. And besides that, the only reason I can't follow directions is because somebody never taught me to follow directions.
Don't go there.
Okay, look. The point is, I got out of there, and I started to live it up. I mean, I had more friends than I knew what to do with. I was eating like a king. I had the finest clothes, and the ladies. What can I say about the ladies?
I can say something about the ladies. They were women, but they were not ladies.
Okay, you know what? Never mind. The thing was, life was good.
Until my son's money ran out around the same time a recession hit our country.
There wasn't any work to be found. I mean, I tried. I really tried, but there just weren't jobs. Eventually, I found a job. It wasn't bad. It was a manager's position. It was an associate position at the... Okay. I was a bacon preparation assistant.
Which means?
I fed pigs. I hated that job. It didn't pay much. I didn't have enough money for a place to live. There were many days I didn't even have enough money to eat. Sometimes I was so hungry, I would gladly have eaten the disgusting scraps I was feeding the pigs, but I couldn't. They wouldn't let me. So, with hunger pains as a constant reminder of how I'd squandered everything my father had given me, I lived in agony day after
day after day after day. I'd watch and I'd wait for my son to come home, and my heart would ache as only a parent's heart could for his own child. But hear me on this. I never gave up on him. I never gave up on him. I knew that it would happen one day.
One day it hit me. One day I realized that the lowliest of my father's workers lived better than I did. At least they had a place to live and food to eat, and I didn't have either one of those things. So I wondered,
what if he never comes to his senses? What if he lets pride just get in the way? No. I will see him again.
Again and again. These thoughts ran through my head as I began my journey back to my father's house. I knew what I would do. There's no way that I would accept a handout, and I couldn't expect him to take me back as his son. So I would ask him to hire me on as a worker. I mean, maybe he would do that. Just maybe.
Maybe today will be the day that my son will come home. That's what I would say every morning when I'd wake up. Maybe today will be the day that I would see him off in the distance as he makes his way back home.
Home. That word means so many things. Comfort, care, security, love, home. I couldn't believe I was just a few hundred yards away from it.
It was a beautiful day. I was sitting on my front porch, and that's when I saw him.
He stood up out of his chair. He looked in my direction. He squinted his eyes to get a better look at me. And then I began to wonder, what if he doesn't take me back? What if I get to him and he just looks at me and he says, I told you so,
I told you so. Some of you would just roll your eyes every time I mentioned my son. But I knew he would come back. I just knew.
I just knew this was a bad idea. I knew I shouldn't have done this, and so I just stopped.
He just stood there.
I couldn't move.
I couldn't just stand there, so
he jumped. My dad literally jumped off the porch. I'd never seen him do anything like that before. It was like he was this little kid who was excited about something. And then it hit me. He was excited about me. So you know what I did next?
I ran. My heart was pounding so fast, I just had to get to him.
I'd never seen him run so fast. He was running at me with his arms stretched out wide as if to say, welcome home, welcome home.
That's what I kept shouting to him. But I don't know if he could hear me, so I just kept shouting it over and over. All I wanted to do was just scoop him up in my arms like he was when he was like a little child, and just let him know that everything was going to be okay. And as I got closer to him, I could see tears running down his face.
He was crying.
Tears of joy. And you know what my son did next?
I jumped. I was nervous, I was excited, and so I literally jumped. And you know what my father did?
Well, I fell backwards. He's a big boy.
And then he hugged me. And he embraced me like only a father can. I kept saying over and over again, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't deserve to be called your son.
My son is back. Get him some clean clothes. Let's give him a meal. No, a feast. For my son will no longer live as an orphan. For all my hopes have come true.
I guess it was hope. Hope that made me start that journey back home. Hope that got me through all the miles. A hope that my father would take me back and somehow I could be forgiven.
Forgiven. It's all forgiven. And I will never bring it up ever again. There is no shame. There is no guilt. For my son was lost. And now he is found.
3 things. 1, God can't love you any more than he already does. 2, you just gotta stop holding on to your sin and run to him. He's already waiting for you. The only way that Ella and I would not have a relationship is if she chose to reject me. It'll never be the other way around, and it's the same way with God. We're gonna pray in just 1 second. First, I'd like you to close your eyes. I'd like you to think, you've probably already been thinking about it. I'd like you to think of a time where you were defensive. That means you didn't want to admit that you were doing the wrong thing. Something that you were holding on to, and you knew it wasn't the right thing. And in just a second, I'm gonna have you pair up with one other person. You're gonna share those things that you're thinking about with that other person. Eyes closed. You got 20 seconds. Pair up, share your ideas. Go. Seconds left. And that's time. Can I get your attention back here? We will have more time in your cabin devotions tomorrow to talk about the very things that you're talking about right now. But first, I'd like to say a closing prayer over you all. So if you close your eyes and bow your heads, let's pray. Dear Jesus, we humble ourselves before you. We ask you to come in and search our hearts. Show us the things in us that are fake. And show us the things that are offensive to you. Because we want to give those up. We don't want to hold on to those any longer. We thank you so much for your forgiveness. We love you. We're excited to have a friendship with you. In Jesus' name, amen. You got some great devotions coming up. We're slightly over time, but we still need to pick a cabin for tonight, so are you guys cool with doing that? All right, here we go. Let's pick a cabin for tonight. In the yellow shirt, come on up. Okay, reach down deep in the bottom. Don't pick the one on the top. All the way to the bottom. Go ahead, open it up. Tell us what cabin number it is. 240! 240. Tonight, when the night games are over, we'll meet right over here by the piano. If you have a red heart, then I want to meet you over by the piano as soon as